Everybody, and welcome to today's stream where we're going to talk about how to get comfortable with your paper and what does this mean and why does it matter. And um, my idea for this came from this paper that you're seeing on the screen, which is an old paper, 1993. And the title of this paper is Getting Comfortable with the Numbers, Auditing and the Micro Production of Macro Order. And basically what I took away from this paper is that this is a paper about how when auditors audit a company's accounts, one of the things that they are doing is, they are getting comfortable with the numbers that are on the account. So maybe not everything is perfect, but everything is comfortable. And I began, when I read this was many years ago during my PhD. I began to think about writing a paper in this way. And this for me is the technique that I have to escape the trap of being a perfectionist when writing papers. And that's a trap because you always have to change your paper when you're in the first revise and resubmit cycle at least. And so it doesn't matter if it's perfect because you have to change it. So it needs to be perfect enough. And the second thing is that there are parts of your paper where you really need to write with confidence. So I want to show you how you get comfortable with your paper through the writing process, and for me it begins with reading. When I read, my purpose in reading is to pick up a theoretical framework, but also to pick up a comfortable theoretical framework. So for example, in the paper that I'm reviewing now for MS Quarterly, or revising now for MS Quarterly, there is, as I was reading through the literature, frame related to information system success. And what I found is that the collective framing, where I describe a process that is typically seen as individual, as something that is collective, requires a very fine reading and understanding and precise understanding of the literature. And I sense that as something that is risky, that would require me to cast all the existing literature as following a specific model of agency and presenting a new model that would be a theoretical contribution. That to me seems very risky because I would have to count on reviewers and eventually readers to be familiar with the nuances of the discussion of the role of agency, not only in information systems, but in social systems in general. So as I was reading, I felt more comfortable, although the theoretical gap is there, the more comfortable theoretical gap is this around IS success. Then when I was writing my paper, I wasn't 100% sure of the final theoretical contribution. I knew that it was in the field of IS success. So what I did is I began by writing the theory instead of beginning by writing the discussion, knowing that the analysis is already done. And so it could make sense to write the discussion first, because I wanted to give myself time to come up with the discussion. Okay. And as I was writing the theory, I kept going back to the discussion and think about what are the theoretical contributions that I was making. And I sort of settled on this idea of new paths for value in information systems in organizations. And as I was doing that, the big theoretical contribution was still missing. The punchline was still missing. So I took it like super super slowly in writing the theory and thinking about the discussion. I went back to my reading notes, um, because what I realized is that the contribution that I had laid out, which was about this idea of augmentation in of this new relationship between people and IS, was still perhaps too dependent on the understanding of agency and collective agency in organizations. So I wasn't comfortable with it. It is a valid theoretical contribution that can be made, that can advance the literature, but I felt there was still some level of risk in putting that out. And so I came up with this other idea in the paper that I really haven't settled on yet. Let me see. Yeah. So that overall, I'm talking about IS success as an organizational process, but I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm closer. So the idea is that coming up, what I want to share with you is that coming up with a theoretical contribution is not only about finding a gap in the literature, but finding a gap in the literature that you're comfortable with. And comfort here is comfort zone, is the fluffy sleepers. That you feel that when you're presenting this to reviewers, you're not, the risk is relatively low. Okay. And comfort here also is about feeling confident that I'm feeling confident in my theory section. I'm feeling confident in this first part of the discussion of these two paths for a success. For me, there's a clear theoretical contribution here. And so that gives me confidence to then do the final step and state the overall broader theoretical contribution of the paper. Okay, so that's it all about, and this comes from this paper on getting comfortable with the numbers. It's a cool paper, cool qualitative research, and my suggestion is that you take a look at it and read it. Not perhaps not because of its research contribution, but because it will really help you think about your papers in a different way and use comfort to overcome perfectionism. Okay, so that's it for today, a shorter one. I hope this is helpful. It's my birthday tomorrow, so I won't be streaming. I'll take the day off, and I have Thursday and Friday are a couple of busy days for me. So you'll see me back again on Monday. Hope you won't miss me too much. Thanks again for watching, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much, everybody, and I hope you get